Hey everyone, my name is Aaron Ray, and for my second presentation, I'll be talking about the elaborate business model of Disney. And before I get started into the presentation itself, I did just want to describe why I chose this topic. And I've always been interested in how diversified the business model of Disney is, and I think that's very obvious. As you know, since their founding in 1923, they've been able to diversify their business model to include not only film and entertainment ventures, but also ownership of theme parks, networks, as well as resorts. And so they've been able to make a lot of strategic decisions that have been able to get their feet in a lot of emerging markets, which has been able to carry the value of Disney throughout its history. And so before I get into the presentation, I would just like to provide a rough overview of what I will be getting into. And so the first subject that I will be mentioning is what makes Disney successful. So I'll talk about elements of their stories that really resonate with audiences and how they were able to use that audience satisfaction to their advantage. I will then move on to talk about strategic moves that Disney takes to really extract continued value out of their film releases. Then I will talk about Disney's business model breakdown, and then move on to quantify just how significant Disney is in the marketplace, as well as provide some insight as to where Disney makes its money from in regards to the different efforts it takes in society. And then I will go on to summarize overall just one more time why Disney is so influential and how their business model has truly become very diversified and unique and can be used as a model for other companies to follow. So to first start, just at a high level, really what makes Disney successful isn't necessarily their ability to build strong characters in isolation. And while Cinderella and The Little Mermaid, for instance, were very strong characters, it wasn't necessarily the novelty of these characters that brought a lot of success to Disney. It was the fact that they're able to build brands around stories or central ideas or concepts that really add value to the overall legacy of Disney's portfolio of content releases. And so because they're able to build really centralized stories, such as a prince saving a princess, or the concept of never giving up, or being yourself or pushing yourself to your limits, because Disney is able to replicate this message throughout so many different films, they're able to create really familiar concepts that help to build comfort and trust in their audience base, which is really advantageous from a business perspective, because once you have that comfort and trust of your consumers, you're able to continue to position similar products and can continue to yield in revenue and value by way of doing that strategy. And this isn't to say that Disney just really rinsed and repeated a lot of their subject matter. While it was linked together, a lot of their films were linked together by central concepts such as never giving up. They were very different in subject matter, which resulted in audiences not being bored by the different films that they were receiving, but there was enough of subtle changes that hooked their attention, and so the end result was watching a movie product that you could relate to and find similarities with in other Disney products that you watch, but the film itself is unique enough to stand alone on, make you go home and talk about the uniqueness of the characters and stuff like that. So moving outside of what makes Disney successful at a high level in terms of how it's able to centralize its stories and sort of create a hub and spoke model for how it's able to make movie releases, Disney has also been able to use its intellectual property in the form of licensing to position its story or its brand into as many markets as possible. And namely, I think this can really be seen through Disney's ability to license its products and its characters to clothing manufacturers, people in the entertainment industry, for instance. And so, this explains why you're able to go into a Disney store in the mall and buy a Mickey Mouse shirt or subsequent Elsa character or something like that. And so because Disney has been able to influence and really get its head into so many different avenues of society, they've continued to grow as a brand as their value increases just by way of eyes always being on either either characters, films, or just news related to the business itself. Moving on to the business breakdown of Disney and the quantification, or my attempt to quantify Disney's business, it's really helpful to look at some recent changes that Disney has done to its overall business orientation. And as of 2021 specifically, Disney now has defined two core segments that it operates in. The first is called Disney Media and Entertainment Distribution, and this really deals with its core films that it releases, as well as its control over linear networks in this industry, which really defines its ownership of different channels such as ESPN and Nat Geo and ABC. And so because Disney is able to have horizontal integration in the entertainment and media field, this has become a really defined business segment for Disney that they are able to continually grow revenues in. Now, the second business segment of Disney is referred to as their Disney Parks, Experiences, and Products division. And a manifestation of this is seeing Disney resorts in Florida, California, Paris, and Hong Kong. And so because of their character depth and just the novel nature of Disney films, as well as how lots of people are familiar with Disney characters, Disney is able to extend its value into a lot of different markets. Markets that animation companies or incumbent animation companies might not have thought that they'd be able to operate in, such as entertainment and theme park industries. And to quantify their success and to really analyze their business segmentation, Disney's overall revenue in 2021 was around $67.4 billion, which is quite remarkable considering especially what happened in 2021 related to the pandemic. And just to touch on the nature of these two segments, the park side of things, the theme park side of things, as well as the entertainment division, the parks, experiences, and products segment yielded Disney within the first quarter of 2021 $3.6 billion, whereas on the entertainment side, or Disney's core market, this brought in around $30 billion for Disney. So it's clear here that Disney is able to extract value out of two very different things, but together they are able to build up a very strong and influential brand in society. And to summarize, Disney's elaborate business model isn't really about creating movies or animations. Rather, it's about creating stories and sustaining brands that make customers continue to come back to the brand time and time again and demand more products. Thank you so much for listening to my presentation. I do just want to say that my references are in the description below, and I appreciate your time. Thank you so much.